Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. How difficult do you think it is for somebody to understand that they are in an abusive relationship? This one's from user Daria12982. I'm unhappy with how my 24 female boyfriend, 26 male treats me, but he won't listen to me for long enough for me to get my point across. Hi there. I could really do with some advice on how to talk with my boyfriend properly about things in our relationship I'm really unhappy about. Sorry if this is long, but I feel I need to get all of this out. I'm quite a sensitive person and hate confrontation, so when I start talking about things that upset me, it really shows, and then I don't feel like I can get my point across. I've, 24 female, been dating my boyfriend, 26 male, for a year. I moved in with him fairly quickly after just a couple of months. I know that's quite early, but at the time it felt right. Early on, he was incredibly sweet. He sent gifts to my door after only having met me a few times. He was full of compliments. He was so charming and didn't treat me like any guy had treated me before. But now he has changed so much, he's almost like a completely different person. I feel like he is constantly putting me down. Whenever I do anything, it seems like he needs to correct me and tell me I'm doing it in the wrong way. Just one example. Whilst cooking, he'll grab the pan off me, sound mad and say, "I'll do it. I'm obviously the only one who can do it right." He seems to always be hostile about something or other. Living with him is like constantly walking on eggshells. Very rarely do we have an evening when we sit down to dinner and have a nice normal conversation. If he's not on his phone during dinner, he says work stresses him out, so he has to do lots of work from home too. He'll ask my opinion about something and always get mad about what I say. If I don't agree with his point of view on whatever we're talking about, he'll always roll his eyes or get mad. Everything is a debate. One minute he will get home from work, pick me up and hug me. Tell me that he loves me and he missed me. Then 5 minutes later, he is completely different towards me. The whole atmosphere changes. He looks so cold and robotic. The only words I can use to describe how he looks is cold fury. At one point when we were out shopping, he was being very snappy and giving me one-word answers. I said, "When you look at me like that, I actually wonder if you hate me." After that, he was very apologetic. He said he doesn't notice when his stress levels are high from a busy day at work, and that he knows he shouldn't take it out on me. He makes me feel guilty about things that aren't my fault. A couple of days ago, he was telling me about some friends he used to hang out with who had a boat, how they are so much fun and he misses hanging out with them. I said, "Why don't you go and see them? Why don't you invite more friends to our house?" As he never really does, and he doesn't like my friends, so we don't have many people over. But he only said, "No, that was a different life. I'm with you now." He says things like that sometimes that make me feel like I'm totally boring and that I'm holding him back from stuff. There have also been a few instances that have really made me question his faithfulness. For example, one weekend he spent Saturday with his ex, who is bi. He went to meet her new girlfriend because he says they are still good friends. Then on Sunday he went to catch up with a female friend from college, who he said he hadn't seen in years. He drove for 3 hours to see her. This isn't something that would bother me at all. I really don't mind whoever I'm with having female friends. But then on Sunday night, when we were watching a movie, my phone was on charge in another room, so he gave me his to find something I wanted to buy online. I went on his WhatsApp to send the link to myself, and the app was open on a message to one of his male friends. It went something like this. "Boyfriend, dude, I went to see X and Y on Saturday and saw Z today. Boom. Friend, spent too much time with your girlfriend already, have you? Are you going back to your old ways? Naughty." When I asked him about it, he just said that that's how guys talk to each other, and his friend is just like that. When I said that still sounds like you've been up to something, he accused me of invading his privacy and being too needy, even though I didn't go looking and it was there on the screen. He went to a party in a different town last weekend for his friend's birthday. I thought it was a bit strange that he didn't invite me, but I was working the next day, so I assumed he didn't want to leave early to have to drive me back in time. He slept over and spent most of the day in this guy's house, and when he texted me, he was really snappy. When he made it home and told me about the guy whose party it was, I realized this guy is the brother of his ex-girlfriend, let's call her Mary. After a while, he told me that Mary was there and that seeing her jarred him. I asked him what he meant by that, if he still had feelings for her. He told me he didn't know what he meant by that, but that he doesn't have feelings for her. I said, when you say seeing your ex jars you and you didn't invite your girlfriend to a party that you knew your ex would be at, you have to admit that's a little weird. But the more we spoke about it, he just said he didn't still have feelings for her and that he knows I've been hurt by guys in the past, but that's not his fault, so I shouldn't take it out on him. I'm really confused about how he treats me. On the one hand, sometimes he can be totally charming, tells me he loves me and wants to build a future with me. The next, he is dismissive and makes it seem like he'd rather be anywhere else than be around me. We had a moving in party, and when one of my male friends hugged me goodbye, he pushed me into our bedroom, slammed the door, and then punched the wardrobe because he was so mad that this guy had hugged me and had been flirty all night. I know that was awful, and the next day I did tell him it wasn't okay. He just said he loves me too much to stand for guys acting like that around me. But if he loves me that much, why is he so cold towards me half of the time? We hardly ever get intimate anymore, and when we do, I feel like he's just going through the motions. I understand that his job is stressful, and he says that's what makes him moody with me sometimes, but he won't listen when I ask him to simply switch off when he gets home. How do I go about confronting him but not crumbling? Anytime we've had even the slightest disagreements, he shoots me down. I end up feeling so anxious and start crying, and then he says he can't talk to me when I'm upset. Then we don't ever get to resolve my original point. I've been told before I can be a bit too sensitive, and that's something I've tried so hard to work on. But as I've been typing this, I really don't think that having genuine concerns about how he's treated me is me being too emotional and unreasonable. I love him and just want us to get to a point where we can actually talk about this stuff for more than a couple of minutes. How can I get him to actually listen to me properly? Well, OP, one thing I'm going to say before we go on to the comments and I give my commentary is that I believe your relationship is an abusive one. But before I continue, let's take a look at the top community comments to see what kind of advice they gave OP. Something Meta 42 says, "What if I told you that you're not doing anything wrong or communicating badly? Your ex is just emotionally abusive, and with the wall punching could potentially elevate to physical abuse. The intense affection at the beginning is called love bombing, and basically it helps form an intense connection. Then your boyfriend is pouty or mean or withdraws affection, and you try so hard to get that initial affection back, which you do in little dribs and drabs, just enough to keep you hooked. This is classic cycle of abuse stuff. The not hanging out with your friends? Yep, abusers often isolate their victims so no one finds out about the abuse, and because it's harder to leave. Only you can know if you're ready to leave, but if you decide to, please make some sort of safety plan for getting out. Also, clear your browser history and don't let him see that you're searching for info on abuse dynamics, etc. If you can, recruit a trusted loved one to help you leave. I wish you all the best. I've been there." Voluse says, "This whole post is evidence of why you need to wait a little longer in order to ensure that you're not moving in with an a-hole. The problem here is not the way you bring things up, it's him. You're not too sensitive, he's just an A. There is no way for you to become better at communicating emotional things with a person who does not make space for that sort of convo, okay? The reason you're having so much trouble with this is because he makes you feel bad about it. He makes you the guilty party in everything. So how the hell are you supposed to feel safe bringing up stuff? Stop blaming yourself. Start opening your eyes and get the hell out of this relationship." Signed, someone who thought she was too sensitive once, but was just dating a sociopath. Ndave T says, quote, "How can I get him to actually listen to me properly?" End quote. You can't. He doesn't care. Stop trying. Get out. I agree, OP. From what you tell us, it doesn't seem like he's at all interested in what you have to say unless you agree with him. So there's no way at all that you can actually try to change his mind or actually try to get him to listen to you, because as long as you're not saying what he wants to hear, he won't listen. He sounds a little bit of a narcissist to me, but I'm not a professional, so I couldn't say. What I do know and I can realize is that you're in a relationship that is not healthy and you should try to get out if you can. But of course, that's just my opinion based on what I read from OP in her post. So now let's move on to the update to see how OP handled this. Firstly, thank you to everyone who commented on my original post. I got so much from it, and seeing so many supportive comments really helped me. I learned a lot, so thank you all so much. I realized through reading your comments that I was in an emotionally abusive relationship. It wasn't communication tips I needed to get out. The past month has been so up and down, but I wanted to share an update. After a pretty weird stepping on eggshells kind of morning, I confronted him about his behavior and mood swings. I prepped myself for a huge argument, and honestly, it didn't go exactly as I expected. First of all, he started to deny he was doing anything wrong, but for once I stood my ground. I don't think he was expecting that. I had lots to say. Many of your comments came in useful there, and I tried so hard not to back down. After a while, he kind of changed. He got upset. He then started saying all sorts of things, that he was sorry but he didn't realize how his behavior affected me, though I'd brought it up many times. A little later on, he said that he had been thinking for a few months that it was his fault my doctor said I had depression. So that's a huge contradiction? He said that for a few weeks he had been thinking about breaking up with me because it's my fault that you are this way and breaking up sooner would have been the noble thing to do. But that he was so torn for ages. He said that's why he had been even more awful to me lately. That his frustrations were just coming out. Again, contradicting what he said about not realizing how his behavior affected me. He said he has never cheated, but I'm really not sure if I believe that. Maybe it's best if I don't know. Then something really unexpected happened. He started to cry. The first time I have ever seen him cry. He told me that he had been texting a work friend over the past few days about our relationship. He even showed me a message she sent to him, which went something like this. You have a wonderful textbook girlfriend and you're effing it up because you are being an A. This is why everyone at work thinks you're a psychopath. You are so cold and bad when it comes to feelings. So I guess it wasn't just me who found his behavior not normal? He cried even more and said that he doesn't feel close to people. That there's only a handful of people he lets in and he doesn't know why he does that. He said that even being around his immediate family was cold and formal and he doesn't know why he is like that and can't connect with people. And that's also why he throws himself into work so much. I told him that if he didn't get help, he would end up a very lonely old man. In that moment, I felt pretty strong and proud of myself. So, as you may have guessed, we broke up. Part of me for a while even thought about trying to save it and work at it. And now that I look back, I can't believe I was ever even thinking that. He kept saying, I just don't know what to do for the best. Should we break up or not? But doing so was absolutely the right thing. I've since had many friends coming forward saying they didn't trust him, something was off, etc. Regarding the girl I talked about, his ex who he cheated on his other ex with, I could see on her brother's Instagram a video of my ex smirking at his phone and the caption was, he's thinking about my sister. To which he replied with another winky face, so what does that say? But I'm not looking Instagram at this stuff anymore. On the day we broke up, he packed some bags and left. He told me to stay with a friend. It turns out that that friend was his ex's brother and he's been living there for a month. I will be moving into a new place in 2 weeks and even though he has gone to stay with his friend and is still paying his share of the rent, he just swings by to pick up some stuff every now and then when I'm at work. I haven't actually seen him. For the past few months, I've been feeling really low, with barely any energy. I'm picking myself back up again and though it's a slow process, I'm coming back into myself. I'm determined that I'm not going to let anyone make me feel like that again. I'm not sure if I needed to write all of that and if you guys needed all of those details, but writing this was quite cathartic. I guess I would just say, to anyone who is reading this and my original post, who is in a relationship that they feel horrible in, just leave. It's hard, but please leave. You will feel so much better. Thanks again, Reddit. Well, good for you, OP. You ended a toxic relationship and got out clean. Good. All you need to do now, like you say, is start building yourself back up. But you will get there. As long as you keep your eye on the ball and keep working on yourself, you will. Regarding your ex, well, he needs to deal with himself, or like you say, he's gonna end up a lonely old man. And so we've reached the end of the video. I truly hope you guys liked it. If you did, go ahead and click like. Of course, don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Also, here are more videos from my channel that you might enjoy. And having said all that, I will see you guys on the next video.